Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whichever time you're choosing to do this heart chakra practice. So the Anahata chakra is basically around the sense of touch. Its element is air because it's all around sort of that lung space area, and its colour is green. So with the heart chakra, as you can imagine, it's all about compassion, caring, love, warmth, and it's that bridge between our physical body and our mental body. So it's that fourth chakra that sits between seven. The lower ones, the ones that we've already covered, being the root chakra, the sacral chakra, the solar plexus chakra, and now we're coming to the heart chakra. And then above, hopefully if you join me in June, we'll be doing the last three chakras as well. So with it being about that bridge between, it seems to be that connection of both. So this practice is all about connection. It's about self-love, it's the healing center. So it's that place where within our heart, we know when to say no, we know when to say yes, because we have to take these decisions, our discernment decisions, through knowing what is right and wrong for ourselves and others. So love is a unifying force. So we're going to practice that as we move through this class. Last week's solar plexus class was quite challenging. This one is still going to be challenging, but just with a little bit more self-care. There's a lot of chest openness in this, so we can give that space for our lungs to expand, and it strengthens upper back. So anybody who's doing a lot of work from home, sitting at desks that aren't really designed to be sat at for a long period of time, this will be great for you, because if you're used to being sat in this position where you're leaning over a table, either doing writing or working on a computer, quite often these shoulders get quite rounded. So we're going to be thinking about sending the shoulders back and creating some space through the front side of the chest. And the more we work our shoulders back, the more we use those muscles, those rhomboid muscles in between the shoulder blades, the more we use those lat muscles to lift and lengthen up through the spine, to grow ourselves a little taller. And then we use the trapezius muscles to draw the shoulder blades down towards our hips, so to hopefully get a better posture. So really good for people who are working at desks. So we're going to start this practice in standing. So if you want to come to the front of your mat, have your feet hip width apart, just lifting all 10 toes and then bringing the toes down from the little toe through to the big toe. Practicing that first chakra, so that rooting, that stability. We will be doing a little bit of fluidity throughout this practice as well, so that connects with that creative chakra, that sacral chakra. But we'll also be working a little bit of fire into the belly just to keep that body nice and warm, nice and strong. So we'll be connecting that core center to connect with that solar plexus chakra. And then we're coming to that heart chakra today with this particular practice, which will help open that chest up and create a little more space to draw that air into the lungs. Bring the hands down by the sides of the body and just turn the palms forward. Roll the shoulders up towards the ears, send them back down towards the hips. Lift up through the chest. Take a little tuck under with the tailbone, a draw back of the belly, and maybe just lift that pelvic floor as if you're stopping yourself going to the toilet. Feel all the connection through the feet, the balls of the feet, the heel of the feet, all 10 toes, not rocking too much out to the outsides, not rocking too much to the insides. Feeling that center grounding through the feet. A little softness through the knees. And just take a moment to scan that body from the top of the head down to the tip of the fingers, tips of the toes. So I'll just give you a moment to do that body scan. When you've taken that body scan, open the eyes. Your breath in, lift the hands up towards the ceiling, facing the palms up. Bring the palms together at the top. Then as you breathe out, send the palms facing down, bring them back down towards the sides of the thighs. And again, breath in, raise those hands back up towards the ceiling, palms come together at the top. Then as you take a breath out, turn the palms down and bring those palms back down by the sides of the thighs. Next breath in, raise those hands again back up towards the ceiling, palms come together. And your next breath out, bring those hands back down by the sides of the body, pushing that air away, creating a little bit of resistance. Your next breath in, bring the hands up forward in front of you, turn the palms up. Then your next breath out, send the thumbs back towards the back of the room. Try and lift up through that rib cage, lift up through the chest. Keep that tailbone tucked under so we don't dump into that lower back, and open that heart space at the front of the body. Maybe take a gaze slightly higher or all the way to the ceiling by lifting the chin if you wish. Keep those arms active. Try and squeeze those thumbs towards the back of the room a little more. Try not to go loose in the lower back. Keep that core center connected. Your next breath in, bring those hands back forward towards you. Little fingers come together. Then release those hands down by the sides of the body. Take a bend in the knees. Start to bring the sit bones down as though you're coming into a seat, and place the hands on top of the thighs. Breath in, lift up the head. Tilt the tailbone upwards, so we take it into like a version of cow but standing. Then your breath out, tuck the chin into the chest, the tailbone tucks, the centre of the spine gets pushed to the back of the room and everything curls inwards. And again, lift up that head, lift up that bum, send the chest forward, create some space in the front side of the body and squeeze the shoulder blades together. And then your breath out, we fold everything back in. So we're doing a version of cat-cow in a chair position. Try and keep that fluidity coming in and out through that spine. Keep those sit bones low so we're not coming out of those bent knees. Feel that strength of those thighs working as we move in and out of this cat-cow position. The breath in, that chest pushes forward, the tailbone lifts up slightly and the head and the gaze goes up to the ceiling. And the breath out, we send the centre of the spine back. We hook the tailbone down and the chin into the chest. Just do another couple more of these cat-cows. Lifting up with the head and the tailbone on the inhale, tucking everything back on the exhale. Still feeling that grounding through those feet. One more. Push that chest forward. Think about the colour green in the centre of the chest, that Anahata chakra. And then one more time into cat. And then bring it back to a neutral space. Straighten up through the legs. Bring the arms back up to the ceiling, palms facing up, palms come together at the top. Take a breath out, push that air away, palms facing down. Bring the hands to the thighs. Breathe in, reach forward with the hands, palms face up. Breath out, open the arms, squeeze the shoulder blades together, send the thumbs back. Maybe lift that gaze, tuck that tailbone down. One more breath in this position. And then bring those hands back to the front. And bring those hands then back down by the sides of the body. Take a roll of the shoulders up towards the ears, back down towards the hips. Take an interlace of fingers at the bum, push the hands down towards the floor, squeeze the palms together, squeeze the shoulder blades together, then bending from the knees, start to fold from the hips. As you bring that chest down to the thigh, start to let the head dangle down towards the floor and raise those hands up towards the ceiling if it's comfortable for the shoulders. Again, to stretch through those pectoral muscles at the front of the chest. Try not to hold any tension in the neck, just let the head go. Then if you're happy to straighten the legs, take a stretch through those hamstrings and then take a bend back into those knees. Either keeping the arms lifted or lowering them to the spine, stretch and lengthen the back of the body, straightening the legs, and then take a bend back into those knees. Chest comes back onto the thigh. And again, straighten those legs. Then take them back into a bend. This time as you straighten the legs, we'll hold it in that straight position, and again just letting go of that neck. All the time lifting those hands as far as you can to the ceiling, but if it's not comfortable, keep them down by the base of the spine. One more breath here. Your next breath in, start to bend the knees as you start to lift up through the torso. Bring the hands down by the base of the spine. Release the hands, give the arms a shake. And then loosen those hands down by the sides of the thighs. Turn the palms up, send the hands back up towards the ceiling, palms together at the top. Breath out, push the air away and bring them back down by the sides of the thighs. Stepping your left foot back, drop down onto that back knee and uncurl those back toes. Sink into those hips, push into that front foot, top of the back foot. If you need to pad the knees, pad the knees. Breath in, raise those hands up towards the ceiling, palms come together. Breath out, send those hands back down by the sides of the body. Your next breath in, raise the hands forward, palms facing up, shoulder height. Breath out, open through the front side of the chest, send the thumbs to the back of the room. Maybe sink a little lower into those hips to come into a lower lunge position, all the time creating space at the front of the chest. Try and hook the tailbone down slightly if you can, so we don't flare the ribs too much, but we are lifting up through that chest. Try and squeeze those shoulder blades together a little more. And then bring those hands back together. Bring the hands down by the sides of the front foot. Step the right knee back to meet the left. Just take a rock of the hips from side to side. Then bring it to a tabletop position. Raise up the right hand to the ceiling. Take a twist to the right. Then thread that right hand in between the left hand and the left knee. Bring the right ear to the mat. Push into that right forearm. If you're happy with the neck position, lift the left hand to the ceiling and try and open that chest to the left side of the room. Bring the weight back into that left knee if you can, if it's gone over to the right side, to try and neutralize those hips. Then bring that left hand behind the back, take a hold of that right thigh and maybe lift and open that chest a little further to that left side of the room, using that right forearm as an anchor to help with the twist. One more breath here. Then release that left hand back down to the floor. Bring the right hand back up and out to the side. Lift and open the chest to the right side of the room. Then bring that right hand down to meet the left. Step both feet back to a plank. Start to paddle those feet as you lift the hips to our first down dog. Maybe swaying those hips a little from side to side. Maybe having a little nod and a shake of those heads. So we're going to go in and out of downward facing dog and upward facing dog. So if you only wish to come through to plank, feel free to stop in plank position. But if you want to flow with me, come forward towards a plank, and as you get to plank, you drop the hips and lift the chest. Keep the toes tucked under. And your breath out, we send it back to down dog, lifting the hips and squeezing those heels back. Breath in comes forward through plank, and as you start to get to plank, drop the hips, lift the chest. Breath out, send it back to down dog, lifting the hips, squeezing the heels back. One more time, come forward to a plank. Remember, you can stop in plank if you wish, or drop the hips if you're happy with the lower backs, lift the chest. Take it back to down dog, lifting the hips, squeezing those heels back. So we're going to take a vinyasa, but a slight different change to what you'd normally take. So come forward to a plank position, drop down with the knees, untuck the toes, keeping the hips high, release the chest down to the floor so the heart space comes to the mat, and gaze forward with the gaze, and then roll through, up, lift up the chest into a little baby cobra. From here, raise the hands away from the floor. Squeeze the shoulder blades together. Hold it in our cobra space without support of the hands, using that back bend to strengthen through the back of that body. Lifting that chest as high as you can, tucking those tailbones down, hips into the mat. Then release the hands down, tuck under the toes, bring the chest back towards those thighs. Then push into your hands and feet as you lift your hips, making your way back to your downward facing dog. Maybe having a paddle, a little nod and shake of the heads. Then start to walk the feet towards the front of the mat, keeping the hips nice and high. As you're arriving, standing at the front, let the body fold over those thighs. Let go of the head. Next breath in, bring the hands up over the head. Bring the hands back to the chest, heart center, and just take a moment in standing mountain pose, Samastitihi. Feel that connection with the floor. All parts of those feet feeling nice and supported by the earth. Then release the hands down by the sides of the body. Take a roll of the shoulders up towards the ears and back down towards the hips. Your next breath in, raise those hands up towards the ceiling, palms come together at the top, and then release them down on the out breath to bring those palms back down by the sides of the thighs. Your next breath in, reach forward with the hands, palms face up to shoulder height. And your next breath out, send the thumbs back, lift up through the chest, maybe lift up through the gaze. Squeeze the shoulder blades together, tuck the tailbone down, ground into the floor with the feet. Maybe a little micro bend in those knees if you know you're prone to hyperextension in the joints. And keep that support in the center, belly drawn back. Then bring those hands back forward in front of you and release them down by the sides of the body. Take a bend into the knees, coming into a chair position, hands on top of the thighs. Breath in, lifts up the chest, lifts up the tailbone, lets the belly push forward. We squeeze the shoulder blades together. Breath out, fold everything back in, chin to chest, tailbone tucks. 3 more of cat-cow. Breath in, lifts the chest, lifts the tailbone, arches the back. Breath out, we round the back and tuck the chin back in. 2 more times, lift up the chest, lift up the tailbone, push the belly forward. Breath out, fold everything back in. 1 more time, lift that chest, lift that tailbone. Then tuck everything back in. Belly button back to the spine. Bring it back to a neutral space. Raise the hands up towards the ceiling. Palms come together, straighten the legs. Breath out, release the hands down by the sides of the body. Breath in, raise the hands forward, palms facing up. Breath out, lift the chest. Squeeze the thumbs back towards the back of the room. And feel those hips pushing forward so we don't dump into that lower part of the spine. Relax the shoulders, lengthen the arms, squeeze the shoulder blades together and send them down into those back pockets. Bring the hands back forward, little fingers come back together, release them down by the side of the body, take an interlace of the fingers, push the hands down towards the floor, squeeze the shoulder blades together, lift up through the chest. Then start to bend in those knees as you fold from the hips, bringing those chests down onto those thighs. As you raise those arms, relax the head, give that head a nod and a shake. Remember, it's only options to lift the arms away from the spine if it's not right for the shoulders. Maybe just leave them low on the lower back. If you can, try and squeeze those palms together just to get a little more activation through those arms. Then straighten the legs and bend. Again, straighten and bend. Again, if this doesn't feel comfortable, just stay with a micro bend in the knees. 1 more time in bend. And then this time, keep the legs straight. Again, let go of that head. Don't hold any tension in the back of that neck. 1 more breath here. Stretching that posterior chain at the back of the legs. Then bend the knees, start to bring that torso back up, shoulders over the hips, release the hands and give those hands a shake. So step back with this time with your right foot, drop onto that right knee and uncurl those back toes. Sink into the hips, raise the arms towards the ceiling, palms come together at the top. Then as you breathe out, bring those hands back down by the sides of the thighs, push the air away. Next breath in, raise those hands up to shoulder height. Your breath out, send the thumbs back, lift up the chest, maybe lift up that gaze. Maybe sink a little lower into those hips. Feel that stretch along that right hip flexor as you drop into the floor, lowering the hips as low as they can go, but try not to feel the dump in that lower back. Keep connected with the core at the front, drawing the belly back towards the spine. Lifting the chest as much as you can, squeezing the arms back as far as you can. Then bring those hands back forward, release them down by the sides of the body, step that left knee back to meet the right. Have a little rock of those hips from side to side. And then bring it into that tabletop position. Your next breath in, you lift up your left hand, you turn your chest to the left side, supported by the right hand. Then thread that left hand in between the right hand and the right knee, bring the left ear to the mat. Create some support through that left forearm. If you're happy to raise that right hand to the ceiling, open the chest a little more to that right side. Then if you wish to take that right hand behind the back to find a bind onto that left thigh, maybe encourage that right shoulder up a little higher. Use that left forearm to help with the anchor of the twist. Push back into that right knee as much as you are the left knee to neutralize those hips. Keep that chest open to that right side. One more breath here. Then release that right hand back by the side of the face. Lift the left hand up to the ceiling. Turn the chest to the left. Bring the left hand down to meet the right. Step back to a plank position. Lift the hips. Start to squeeze the heels back one at a time, coming into our second downward facing dog position. So we're going to flow in and out of down dog and up dog again, but if you want to stop halfway through plank, feel free to do so, and flow from plank to down dog. Take a breath in, come forward to plank, roll all the way through, drop the hips, lift up the chest, keep the toes tucked. Take it back to down dog, connect the center of the body as you lift the hips back, squeeze the heels to the floor. Next breath in, come forward to plank again, then drop the hips and lift the chest all on your inhale. And on your out breath, lift those hips and squeeze those heels back. One more time, come forward through plank, stop there if you wish, or drop the hips to come into up dog, thighs stay away. And then take it back to down dog, lifting the hips, squeezing those heels back. We're going to go through a vinyasa, but we're stopping to do a back bend. Come forward to plank. I would like you to drop the knees, keep the hips high as you bend the elbows into the side of the body to drop down with the chest. Gaze is forward, chin to the mat. Then roll through, lift up the chest. Take the hands behind you, palms facing in, lift the shoulders, lift the chest a little higher. Squeeze the shoulder blades together, maybe include those feet. So we're taking a back bend now through the whole of the body, switching on the hamstrings, the glutes, the lats, the rhomboid muscles, the trapezius muscles. So we're getting that half bow, resting on that space between the lower ribs and the upper part of the thighs. One more breath here, squeezing as much as you can out of that back chain. Then release the feet, release the hands, tuck the toes under, bring the chest back towards those thighs. Push into the hands and feet as you lift up the hips and squeeze those heels back. Take a little paddle through the feet. Nod and shake of those heads. Then start to walk those feet towards the front of the mat. Bring the feet under the shoulders. Let the body fold over those legs for a breath. Let go of the head. Then your next breath in, slightly bend the knees. Bring the arms up, around, Above the head, palms come together. Release the hands down by the sides of the body. And just take a moment here, turning the palms forward, lifting up through the chest, tucking the tailbone under, finding the grounding into both feet. Long breaths in, long breaths out. Then take a bend in the knees, bring the hands onto the thighs. Breath in, lifts up the head, lifts up the tailbone, pushes the belly and chest forward. Breath out, fold everything in, chin to chest, tailbone tucks. 3 more cat-cow. Breath in, lifts up the head, lifts up the butt. Breath out, fold it back in. And 2 more. Breath in, lifts the chest. Create space through the front side of the body. Breath out, fold everything back in. 1 more time, push that chest forward. Think of that colour green in that heart space, the chakra colour of that place. Breath out, fold everything back in. And then bring yourself back up to standing, bring the arms up and above the head, palms to come together. Breath out, push the air away, bring the hands back down by the sides of the thighs. Reach forward with the hands, palms facing up. And then on your breath out, keep the chest lifted, the thumbs to the back of the room, the tailbones tucked under, the core center switched on, and breathe into that space of the heart, that place, that element of air, that colour green. Then bring the hands back forward. Release the hands down by the sides of the body. Take an interlace of the fingers at the bum. Release the feet to hip width apart. And then as you breathe out, bend the knees, bring the chest onto those thighs. Bring the arms up and over the head. Squeezing the shoulder blades together, then let go of that neck. Keep pushing into all 4 corners of the feet. Holding it here for 1 more breath. Then straighten up through the legs. Hold it in straight legs for a couple of breaths. Release the hands back to the base of the spine. Start to bring those shoulders back over the hips. Release the hands. Stepping your left foot back as far as you can and take a bend into your right knee. Raise the hands up towards the ceiling, palms come together at the top. Then push the air away, palms facing down, bring the hands down by the sides of the thighs. Breathe in, reach forward with the hands, bring them up to shoulder height, palms face up. Breath out, send those thumbs back, still keeping that strength in the core center, but the openness through the chest. Try and tether those ribs and hips so you don't flare too much in those lower ribs. Keeping it nice and strong in the center. Relax the shoulders down. Feel those shoulder blades drawing together through those rhomboid muscles. And those lat muscles drawing the shoulders back into those back pockets. Maybe the gaze goes up towards the ceiling. Back leg stays nice and straight, the front knee bent. And we're finding that support from the feet. The stabilization into the floor. Bring the hands back forward, little fingers come back together. Release the hands down by the sides of the body. Windmill the left arm up and over, drop the back heel and find warrior 2, palms facing up and relax those shoulders. Sink into that right knee a little deeper. Try and get that right thigh as parallel to that floor as you can and energetically push through the outside of that left foot. Bring the arms forward to shoulder height and take the gaze towards the hands at the front. So turn the shoulders to that left side of the mat. Then open the arms, send the thumbs back, lift up the chest, still maintain the outturn of that right knee in warrior 2 legs. Maybe lift the gaze, squeeze the shoulders down. Long breaths in, long breaths out. 1 more breath here. Then bring those hands back together at the front Release them down by the sides of the body. Bring them back up to warrior two arms. Then windmill the hands down either side of that right foot. Step back to a plank position. And release with the knees first. Then with the chest. Chin comes to the floor. Hips stay high. Then roll through. Bring the hips down and tuck the toes. Bring the hands down by the sides of the body, then take an interlace at the bum, squeeze the shoulders back, lift up the chest. Maybe lift up the feet to take that back bend into this space. Long breaths in. Long breaths out, relaxing onto the top of that pubic bone, those hip bones, maybe just the top of the thighs, maybe the lower ribs. Then release the feet down, bring the hands by the side of the chest. Tuck under the toes, bring the chest back towards those thighs. Push into the hands and feet as you lift up the hips and squeeze those heels back. Have a little nod and a shake of the head, a paddle of the feet. Then we'll take it through those three flows of down dog to up dog, or if you wish to stop at plank, down dog to plank. Breath in comes forward to a plank and transitions all the way through to an up dog, thighs stay away, chest lifts. Take it back to down dog. Switch that core center on to lift those hips and squeeze the heels down. Breath in comes forward through plank all the way through to up dog, or stop at plank if you wish. Breath out, the heels come back down, the hips lift, the chest gets pushed back to the thighs. One more time, flowing through from down dog to up dog or down dog to plank. Breath out and lift those hips. Squeeze those heels back. Start to walk the feet towards the front of the mat. And when you arrive at the front of the mat, just allow that body to fold over those legs. Maybe take a hold of the elbows. Maybe make circles with the elbows in one direction. Then take it through the other way. Then release the arms to be heavy. And your next breath in, bring the hands up around, up towards the ceiling. Palms come together at the top. Then push that air away. Bring the arms forward, palms facing up. Take the hands back, thumbs lead, and chest lifts, gaze up to the ceiling. Bring the hands then back to the front. Back down by the sides of the body. Take a bend into the knees. Take a 4 rounds of cat-cow in chair position. Breath in, lifts up the head, lifts up the bum, pushes the belly forward. Breath out, we fold everything back in, chin to chest. Breath in, lifts up the head, lifts up the bum. Breath out, folds everything back in, chin to chest. 2 more times. Breath in, create space at the front. Breath out, create space through the back. Breath in, lift that chest. Breath out and fold. Your next breath in, lift up through the body, raise up through the hands, palms come together. Then breath out, push the air away, hands down by the sides of the thighs. Breath in, raise the hands up to shoulder height, palms facing up. Breath out, lift the chest, push the thumbs to the back of the room. Squeeze those shoulder blades together. Breath in, bring those hands back to the front. Breath out, release them down by the sides. Take an interlace of the fingers, push the hands down, create space in the chest. As you breathe out, bend the knees, start to fold from the hips. Raise the hands away from the spine or keep them on that lower back. And once those arms are raised, just let go of that head. Holding it here for a breath with bent knees. And then straighten those legs as much as you can. Feel that back chain of muscles lengthening. Breathing easy breaths in completely and out completely. Release the hands back down by the bum. Come up with the shoulders, stack over the hips. Release the hands down by the sides of the body. And just take a moment here. Feel the grounding of the feet before we take that little flow on the opposite side. Step this time your right foot as far back to the back of the mat. Back leg stays straight, front knee stays bent. Raise the hands up to the ceiling, palms come together at the top. Then as you breathe out, push that air away, palms facing down, come back to the sides of the thighs. Reach forward with the hands, palms face up. Then send those thumbs back, lifting the chest. Try not to flare those lower ribs. Keep that connection in the center of the body. Maybe gaze up to the ceiling to challenge the balance. Keep that front knee bent. Keep that back leg straight. Breathe in deeply. Breathe out completely. Shoulders relaxed. Bring those hands back forward. And then bring the hands down by the sides of the body. Windmill the right arm up and around. Drop the back heel. Bring arms to warrior two arms, palms facing up. Then lift those hands up towards the ceiling, palms come together. Then push the air away and bring those hands back down by the sides of the body. Reach forward with the hands so the shoulders are facing the right side of the mat. We're staying bent into that left knee, getting it as parallel as we can to the floor. Then send those thumbs back, create that space at the front of the chest for those lungs to expand. Keep tucking under with that tailbone, lifting up with the chest, but tethering those ribs and hips towards each other to keep a good core connection in that center. Nice, easy breaths. Long breaths in, long breaths out. And then turn the palms, find your warrior two arms. Then windmill the hands down either side of that left foot. Step back to a plank. Drop down with the knees. Keep the hips high, untuck the toes. And just release the chest to the floor. Elbows to graze the ribs. Gazing forward, chin to the floor. Roll through with the chest. Bring the hands down by the sides of the body. Breathe in, lift up the chest. Breathe out, squeeze the shoulder blades back. Breathe in, lift up the feet. Then bring the arms to a T shape out by the sides of the body, palms facing down. Long breaths in, long breaths out, giving as much squeeze of that back chain of muscles. One more breath here. Then release the hands down by the sides of the body. Tuck the toes under. Bring those chests back towards those thighs. Push into those hands and feet. Lift up the hips. Squeeze the heels back. Maybe have a little paddle just for a couple of breaths. Relax the neck. Give that head a nod and a shake. Encourage the heels down. And we'll take 3 flows from down dog to up dog or down dog to plank, whichever you're using. Breath in comes forward to a plank and drops the hips, lifts the chest, keeps the toes tucked under, thighs away. Breath out, lift up the hips and squeeze the heels back. Breath in, come forward through plank, hold it in plank if you wish, or drop the hips, lift the chest, keep the toes tucked. Breath out, back to down dog. One more time, come forward either to plank or up dog. Breath out and lift those hips, squeeze those heels back. Start to walk the feet back towards the front of the mat. Let the body hang over those thighs, take a hold of the elbows, let go of the neck. Give that head a nod and a shake. Release the arms then to become heavy, and then bring the arms up and out to the side. Bring the palms together at the top. Then push the air away, bring the hands down by the sides of the body. Breathe in, bring the hands forward, palms facing up. Breathe out, send the thumbs back, palms still face up, and we lift up through that chest. Hold it here for a couple of breaths. Then bring those hands back together, little fingers in the center, and then bring the hands down by the side of the body. Place the hands on the hips. We're going to take it into our balancing tree. So bring your weight into your left foot and bring your right heel either to the ankle with the toes on the floor, to the outside of that calf, or if you wish to bring it all the way up into that left thigh, push the right foot into the left thigh and the left thigh back to that right foot. Bring the hands together at the chest. Just holding it here for a couple of breaths just to find your stability first. Keep that focus on something in front of you. Then release those hands down by the sides of the body. Breath in, raise those hands up to the ceiling. Palms come together at the top. Breath out, push the air away, palms facing down. Then your next breath in, bring those hands forward, palms facing up to shoulder height. Then your breath out, send those thumbs back, lift up through the chest, keep the center of the body nice and strong. Lifting as much through that chest as you can, squeezing those shoulders back towards those hips. All the time, encouraging those thumbs back a little further. Maybe gaze up if that doesn't challenge the balance too much and brings you out of the pose, or just keep your gaze just down in front of you to something that's not moving. Bring the hands then back to the center, little fingers together. Bring the hands back to the hips. Release that right foot back to the floor. Take a paddle through the feet. And then we'll take that balance on the other side. So feel the grounding this time into your right foot. Either bring the ankle of the left onto the inside of the right ankle or onto the shin or onto that right thigh, pushing the left foot into the right thigh and the thigh back into the foot. Left knee's externally rotated. Just bring the hands to the chest. Find that position first. Find that focus, that stability. Once you've found the legs, bring the hands down by the sides of the body. Turn the palms up, raise the hands up to the ceiling. Palms come together at the top. Breath out, push the air away. Bringing those hands back down by the sides of the body. Your next breath in, raise the hands up to shoulder height in front of you. Palms face up. And your breath out, send those thumbs back. Create that space in the chest, keep the strength in the core, keep the thought of that standing leg and the muscles that are working hard to keep you in this balance. If you want to challenge the balance a little more, raise the gaze. Maybe lift the chest a little higher without flaring those bottom ribs. Squeeze the shoulder blades down. Maybe lift that gaze a little higher. One more breath here. Then bring those hands back in front of you. Little fingers come together. Bring the hands by the hips. Release that left foot down. Take a paddle of the feet. A little roll of the shoulders. This time step your left foot back. Maybe not as long as you did with your lunges. Your left heel comes to the floor, your left toes face that left corner of the mat. Hips and shoulders facing the front. Take a bend into your right knee. Hands down by the sides of the body. Then turn the palms, raise the hands up to the ceiling. Palms come together at the top into our warrior one pose. Then release the palms down, push the air away, bring the hands down by the sides of the body. Reach forward with the hands. Then take the thumbs back and lift that chest. Keep bent in that front knee, straight in the back leg. Pushing into the outside of that left foot and the big toe of that left foot. Pushing into the whole of the right foot. chest expansion as we take those arms back. Then bring those hands back forward, little fingers come back together. Release the arms down by the side of the body and straighten that front leg. Bring the hands to either grabbing opposite elbows or taking it into a reverse prayer position. So push the palms together in your reverse prayer. Shoulders and hips face forward. Encourage the left hip forward, the right hip back. Breathe in, elongate the spine. Breathe out and fold to a half fold. Next breath in, lengthen, lift, stretch the front torso. And as you breathe out, start to fold from the ribs, the hips, the ribs, bringing that chest down to wherever it reaches. Try not to compensate by letting that left hip go backwards. Encourage it forwards and keep pushing into both feet. Maybe let the head go here. Maybe your availability to bring that nose towards the shin. All the time, if you've got prayer position, hands pushing those palms together. Or if you're up here, that's fine, so long as you can feel that hamstring stretch down the back of that right leg. Take one more breath in this position. And then lift that chest. Release those hands. Step forward, back to the front of the mat and take a paddle through those feet. Bring your weight onto your right foot and lift your left knee up to hip height. Take a hold of that left ankle with the left hand and bring that left knee back to meet the right. Raise that right hand up towards the ceiling and then start to lean forward. Push that left foot into the left hand and that left hand resists that right foot from pushing into it. Lift that chest, raise that right hand, coming into dancer pose with a slight different grab of the foot. So we're stretching those quads on the front of the left thigh. One more breath here. Then raise back up. Left knee comes back to meet the right. Hold that left foot into the bum. Bring that right hand back down to the hip. Knees come in line with each other. Push the hips forward. And feel that stretch a little more on that left quad. One more breath. Then release that left foot down and take a paddle through those feet. Then step your right foot back, drop the back heel to the floor, hips and shoulders facing that short edge of the mat. Right toes facing out to that right corner. Bend in to that left knee. Bring the arms down by the sides of the body. Turn the palms up. Raise the hands up to the ceiling. Palms come together at the top. Then push the air away, palms facing down. Bring them back towards those thighs. Push into that back foot. Raise the hands up to shoulder height in front of you. Then send those thumbs to the back of the room. Create the space at the front of the chest. Maybe lift that gaze. Maybe bend a little more into that left knee. Encouraging your right hip forward, your left hip back. And that space at the front side of the body without flaring those ribs. Bring the hands back forward in front of you. Then bring the hands down by the side of the body. Straighten up that front leg. Take whatever hold you had on the other side, maybe elbows, or reverse that palm. Bring the palms together if you've reversed. Encourage the right hip forward, left hip back. Breathe in, lengthen, elongate the spine. Breath out, fold over that leg. Folding from the hips, leading with the ribs, then leading with the chest. Then maybe when you've got to your full expression, wherever that may be, it may be high, it may be that you can let your head go, that nose come towards those shins, without that compensation of letting that right hip sink backwards. Try and encourage it forwards. Try and push those palms together. Lift those elbows. Create space in that chest. One more breath here. Then lift up through that body And then step that right foot to meet the left. Release the hands, give those arms a shake. Put your weight into your left foot and raise up this time your right knee. Take a hold of the right ankle with the right hand and squeeze that right knee back to meet the left. Raise the left hand. Then start to lean forward with the torso, pushing the right foot into that right hand, resisting with the right hand, stopping that right foot, popping away. Try and keep the shoulders aligned to the front of the mat, but the chest open, space to breathe, that lung capacity to grow. Hold it here just for one more breath. Then bring yourself back up. Bring your your right knee back to meet your left. Squeeze that foot into the bum, that left hand onto the hip. Push those hips forward, squeeze the right foot a little closer. Stretch the front of that thigh on that right side. Then release that right foot down to meet the left. Take a paddle through those feet. Bring the feet to stillness. Bring the hands down by the sides of the body. Breath in, raise the hands up to the ceiling. Breath out, push the air away, bring the hands back to the thighs. Reach forward with the hands. Then reach back with the thumbs, create the space through the chest. Bring those hands back forward. Bring the hands down by the thighs. Take a hold, interlace of the fingers at the bum. Start to bend the knees, fold from the hips. Bring that chest down to the thighs, the arms up to the ceiling if you wish. And let go of the head here. Then lift that chest. Come up to standing. Keep their arms interlaced and step your left foot back. Bend into your right knee. Heel toe that right foot out a little further to the side of the right. Breathe in, elongate the spine. Breathe out, bring the right shoulder to that right knee and that head to the inside of that right knee. And maybe raise those hands up to the ceiling to bring it to humble warrior. Just holding humble warrior for a couple of breaths. So we're on the toes of the back foot, the whole of the front foot, the arms raised or lower if you wish. Then we're going to go through a few standing flows of warrior. Breath in, raise that chest, lift that gaze. Breath out, fold that shoulder back towards that right knee. Breath in, lift, raise that gaze. Breath out, fold into that right knee. One more time, lift, raise that gaze, and fold in to that right knee. Hold it there for a breath. Release the hands down, either side of that right foot, step back to a plank. Lift up the hips, squeeze the heels back. Breath in, come forward through plank, maybe into your up dog, dropping the hips. Breath out, lift the hips, squeeze those heels back. And again, come forward through plank, maybe stopping at plank if you wish, or through to up dog, dropping the hips. Breath out, lift the hips, squeeze the heels back. One more, through to plank. Dropping the hips, lifting the head and the gaze. Back to down dog. Starting to walk the feet then back to the front of the mat. Feet under the shoulders, bend into the knees, hold the elbows. Make circles with the elbows in one direction. Back through centre, through the other direction. Release the arms, let them be heavy. Then bring the arms around and up. Palms come together at the top. Push the air away. Hands back to the thighs. Reach forward and lift the hands. Reach back as you exhale, lift the chest. thumbs to the back of the room. Breathe in, bring the hands forward. Breathe out, release the hands down by the side of the back. Push the hands down to the floor, open up through the chest. Bend the knees, let the chest come over the thighs. Lift the hands up to the ceiling and release that head. Next breath in, raise up through the torso, bring the hands back to the base of the spine. And this time step your right foot back onto the toes of that back foot, whole of the front foot. Heel toe that left foot out to the side, hands stay interlaced. Breathe in, length through the spine. Breathe out, bring the left shoulder to that left knee and the head to the inside of that left knee. And raise the hands to the ceiling. Hold it here just for a couple of breaths before we take it into our humble flow. One more breath here. Your next breath in, raise those shoulders back over those hips. Lift the chest, lift the gaze. Breath out, fold over that leg, left shoulder, left knee. Raise the hands. Breathe in, lift the chest. Breathe out and fold back over that leg. One more time. Lift the chest. And fold over that leg. This time hold it here just for a couple of breaths. Before you then release the hands down either side of the left foot, step back to plank. Lift the hips to down dog. Have a little nod and shake of the head, maybe a little paddle through the feet. Then the last flow of down dog to up dog, come forward through plank. Either hold it in plank or go all the way to up dog. And then take it back to down dog. 2 more times. Flow. Drop the hips, lift the chest, thighs stay away. Breath out. Heels back. 1 more time. Breath in. Lift the chest and flow. Breath out, back to down dog. Make your way into a seat, either stepping both feet forward or swinging the legs around. Bring the bums into the center, the shoulders to the floor. So keeping our arms in a T shape, palms facing down. Take your right leg over your left. Either bring your right foot to the outside of the shin or find a double wrap into eagle legs. Lift the feet away from the floor. Take a gaze towards that right hand to send the knees over to that left side. So double wrapping just gives a little more stretch through those backs. If this doesn't feel comfortable, just bring one knee on top of the other and just take it in a rotation of the spine with a slight easier option. So that would be that your leg wouldn't be wrapped and the knees would be stacked. But this just makes it a little deeper stretch, a little more openness through that chest. 1 more breath in this position. Then bring those knees back to the center. Swap over legs, so this time your left leg wraps around your right, either bringing the foot to the outside of the right shin or bind it into the calf. Take the gaze to the left side and bring those knees over to that right side. Wrap, bring the knees into the chest. So I'm going to take it into shoulder stand, then into plow, and then into fish pose. So if you want to watch first, just watch the video, then rewind. If you know where you're going with shoulder stand, just make sure all the time that your gaze is concentrated on the ceiling and not left or right. So just to hold on to not flashing, I'm just going to tuck my t-shirt in. Then bring the hands down by the sides of the body. Bring the knees into the chest. Push into the hands to lift those hips away. Then bring the hands into the base of the spine. And the knees are together. And then we're trying to encourage the elbows together. If you're happy here with the knees bent, stay where you are. If you want to go a little deeper, a little higher, lift up one leg and then lift up the other. So we go into that full expression of shoulder stand. Try and create a little space in the neck so that chin isn't tucked too much into that chest. The toes are either pointed or drawn back to the shins, whichever you wish to work with. Holding it here just for a couple of breaths. Taking the pressure off the heart, being kind, being compassionate for that space, giving yourself a little self-love. If you're unhappy in shoulder stand, you can always just have the bum on the floor and raise those feet up to the ceiling. Obviously, shoulder stand isn't wise to do if you have high blood pressure. So just have those bums to the floor and just raise the legs. If you're coming with me to the next stage, just release those feet back towards the back of the mat. Toes can either touch the floor or just be hovering off the mat. You can then release the hands down to the floor. Squeeze that belly back. Lift those hips a little higher. Holding it here just for one more breath. Then slowly uncurling, bringing the knees in to the chest. And if you've been in shoulder stand with that neck in that compromised position, bring the feet long to the ends of the mat, and then we'll take it into fish pose. So you push your elbows into the mat, you lift up the chest and come onto the top of the head. And we hold it in fish pose for as long as you held shoulder stand. Feeling that space at the front side of the body, that opening and shining up of the heart to the ceiling. Thinking of that colour green in that space where the heart is, that Anahata chakra. That space with the element of air. One more breath in fish pose. And then slowly coming off the top of your head, bring the shoulders down to the floor. Take a bend in both knees, then let the knees drop out to the sides. Bring your left hand onto the heart, your right hand onto the belly. Notice the beat of the heart as you're finishing and coming down through your practice. If you want to straighten the legs out long now, feel free to do so. Or if you're happy to stay in butterfly legs, whatever works for your lower back. And just take a moment to think of somebody who you love. Sending them health. Sending them well-being, care, kindness, compassion, empathy, and love. And all the time, giving yourself that same respect. Feel free to stay here for as long as you wish, or in the meantime, have peace in your thoughts, your words, your hearts. From my heart to yours, Namaste.